KWT slaying.
Salama family, Salama, how y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. So we're getting down to the ninth, what's the word? The 11th hour, 11:59. And we're going to see what's going to happen. We're definitely in the last days. And let's just go ahead and look at some of this stuff right quick.
The court considers that, with regard to the present situation, Israel must, in accordance with its obligations under the Genocide Convention, in relation to Palestinians in Gaza, take all measures within its power to prevent the commission of all acts within the scope of Article 2 of the Convention, in particular, A, killing members of the group, B, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, C, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, and D, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. The court recalls that these acts fall within the scope of Article 2 of the Convention when they are committed with the intent to destroy in whole or in part the group as such. The court is also of the view that Israel must take measures within its power to prevent and punish the direct and public incitement to commit genocide in relation to the members of the Palestinian group in the Gaza Strip.
So I know most of y'all heard about that, and a lot of people don't realize what the repercussions is. And you got to understand that what this means is that power is being given to the beast. So now all of the nations are going to give their sovereignty to the beast. The 10 is going to give their power to the beast. That's what the scripture says. This is the beginning of it. Also, it is the beginning of the fall of Babylon. The question is, who gonna make it out? I mean, we're supposed to flee. And at some point we will flee. But Moses didn't go into the promised land. We don't know who's gonna make it there. Now I know that sounds sort of negative, but this is warfare. And these people are at war with the world, specifically Israel. See, the Gentiles never listen. We told them we're the true Israelites. Okay, you're the Israelite, it don't matter. Or, okay, so what? Y'all owe us reparations. Y'all got to send us home. No, we're not going to do it. We would have healed Babylon, but she's not healed. America, aka Babylon, I know some of your mores lied to you. Some of your mores told you that the Vatican is Babylon. You keep believing that. Like I say, if it walks like a duck, quack like a duck, look like a duck. It's a duck. I've also mentioned that some people don't have spiritual discernment either. Keep doing your thing. I told you what my prayer is: grace and mercy. That's all I ask: grace and mercy on me, my family, on Israel. Grace and mercy. I don't need nothing else. Revelation 18. After this, I saw another angel coming down from heaven. He had great authority, and the earth was illuminated by his splendor. With a mighty voice, he shouted, "Fallen! Fallen is Babylon the Great. She's become a dwelling for demons, and a haunt for every impure spirit, a haunt for every unclean bird, a haunt for every unclean, detestable animal, for all the nations have drunk the maddening wine of her adulteries. The kings of the earth committed adultery with her, and the merchants of the earth grew rich from her excessive luxuries." Does that sound like the Vatican to you? Please. Warning to escape Babylon's judgment. Then I heard another voice from heaven say, "Come out of her, my people." Can we say flee? "So that you will not share in her sins, so that you will not receive any of her plagues, for her sins are piled up to heaven, and God has remembered her crimes. Give back to her as she has given. Pay her back double for what she has done. Pour her a double portion from her own cup. Give her as much torment and grief as the glory and luxury she gave herself. In her heart she boasts, 'I sit enthroned as queen. I am not a widow. I will never mourn. Therefore, in one day her plagues will overtake her.'" In one day, in one day, in one day, her plagues will overtake her: death, mourning, and famine in one day. She will be consumed by fire, for mighty is Yahuwah who judges her. When the kings of the earth who committed adultery with her and shared her luxury see the smoke of her burning, they will weep and mourn over her. Terrified at her torment, they will stand far off and cry, "Woe, woe to you, great city, you mighty city of Babylon! In 1 hour your doom has come." The merchants of the earth will weep and mourn over her because no one buys their cargoes anymore. Sounds like the Vatican to you, not me. Sound like America, doesn't it? Cargoes of gold, silver, precious stones, and pearls, fine linen, purple, silk, scarlet, cloth, every sort of citron wood, and articles of every kind made of ivory, costly wood, bronze, iron, and marble. Can we say Teslas? Cargoes of cinnamon and spice, of incense, myrrh, and frankincense, of wine and olive oil, of fine flour, wheat, cattle, sheep, horses, and carriages, and human beings sold as slaves. Sounds like the Vatican to me, huh? I don't think so. They will say, "The fruit you longed for is gone from you. All your luxury and splendor have vanished, never to be recovered." The merchants who sold these things and gained their wealth from her will stand far off, terrified at her torment. They will weep and mourn and cry out. So the merchants were selling her goods. I'm just saying, keep believing the Vatican stuff. Anyway. "Woe, woe to you, great city, dressed in fine linen, purple and scarlet, and glittering with gold, precious stones, and pearls. In 1 hour, such great wealth has been brought to ruin. Every sea captain and all who travel by ship, the sailors, and all who earn their living from the sea will stand far off when they see the smoke of her burning. They will exclaim, 'Was there ever a city like this great city?' They will throw dust on their heads and with weeping and mourning cry out." I want to show y'all something right quick. This is one of those little interesting tidbits. Babylon, New York. The town of Babylon is one of 10 towns in Suffolk County, New York, United States. Its population was 218,000 as of 2020 census. Parts of Jones Beach Island, Captree Island, and Fire Island are in the southernmost part of the town. It borders Nassau County to the west and Atlantic Ocean to the south. Now, that's Babylon. Here's where it's located. Right here. Here's where the ports are. And it just so happens that the scripture says every sea captain and all who travel by ship, the sailors and all who earn their living from the sea will stand far off when they see the smoke of her burning. They will exclaim, was there ever a city like New York City? They will throw dust on their heads and with weeping and mourning. I know it's a stretch, right? But it's so, it seems to fit. Woe to you, great city, where all who had ships on the sea became rich through her wealth. In 1 hour she has been brought to ruin. Rejoice over her, you heavens. Rejoice, you people of God. Rejoice, apostles and prophets, for Yahuwah has judged her with the judgment she imposed on you. So we keep telling the Gentile, the Most High judging y'all for what y'all did to us. You ain't got to listen. But guess what? I told you it was over. I told you it was sealed. It's done. Stick a fork in it. It's done. It's over. The prophecies are coming to pass. You ain't got no more time left. Whoever make it through this, I don't know. It sounds sort of scary, right? But it is what it is. You got to warn the people because guess what? We are there. In my opinion, you don't have to listen to me. That's fine. I'm nobody. Then a mighty angel picked up a boulder the size of a large millstone and threw it into the sea and said, with such violence, the great city of Babylon will be thrown down, never to be found again. The music of harpists and musicians, pipers and trumpeters. Can we say actors and actresses and singers and rappers and hip hop people? Can we say that? Never to be heard in you again. No worker of any trade will ever be found in you again. Does that sound like the Vatican to you? I don't think so. The sound of a millstone will never be heard in you again. The light of a lamp will never shine in you again. The voice of the bridegroom and bride will never be heard in you again. Your merchants were the world's important people. That don't sound like the Vatican to me. By your magic spell, all the nations were led astray. And her, can we say media? In her was found the blood of prophets and of God's holy people, of all who have been slaughtered on the earth. Jeremiah 50, verses 16 to 17. Let's start with 15. Shout against her on every side. She surrenders. Her towers fall. Her walls are torn down. Since this is the vengeance of Yahuwah, take vengeance on her. Do to her as she has done to others. Cut off from Babylon the sower and the reaper with his sickle at harvest because of the sword of the oppressor. Let everyone return to their own people. Let everyone flee to their own land. Israel is a scattered flock that lions have chased away. The first to devour them was the king of Assyria, the last to crush their bones was Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Therefore, this is what Yahuwah says. I will punish the king of Babylon and his land as I punished the king of Assyria, but I will bring Israel back to their own pasture, and they will graze on Carmel and Bashan. So the Most High says he's going to judge Babylon. He's going to bring us back. We're at that time, in my opinion. I don't think there's much time left. You got to understand what's happening. The 10-toe federation is going to form after this World War III. And in the days of these 10 shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom that shall never end. The world is in world government right now. But they're solidifying their power. They're solidifying their rulership over the nations, which is why the rulership of the Hague is important, because understand that the nations that associate themselves with the Hague or the ICJ have given authority to the ICJ. So therefore, they get to tell people what to do. Same thing with the WHO and the treaty that they're trying to sign, where the World Governmental Medical Institute, called the WHO, gets to tell the nations how to handle certain issues. So now we have a lot of things going on in the world that the world ain't ready for. The world ain't ready for it because they don't believe it. Let me go back up here to the top for 50, right? We've been through this a lot. Let's start from verse 2. Announce and proclaim among the nations, lift up a banner and proclaim it, keep nothing back, but say, Babylon will be captured, Bel will be put to shame, Marduk filled with terror, her images will be put to shame, and her idols filled with terror. A nation from the north will attack her and lay waste her land. Can we say Russia? We've been telling y'all that since 2016. No one will live in it. Both people and animals will flee. In those days, at that time, declares Yahuwah, the people of Israel and the people of Judah together will go in tears to seek Yahuwah their Elohim. They will ask the way to Zion and turn their faces toward it. They will come and bind themselves to the Lord in an everlasting covenant that will not be forgotten. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have led them astray and caused them to roam on the mountains. They wandered over mountain and hill and forgot their resting place. Whoever found them devoured them. Their enemies said, we are not guilty, for they sinned against Yahuwah, their verdant pasture. So I wonder if that's them people in the Middle East that went through all this. I wonder. I don't think so. Flee out of Babylon, leave the land of the Babylonians, and be like the ghosts that lead the flock. For I will stir up and bring against Babylon an alliance of great nations from the land of the north. They will take up their positions against her, and from the north she will be captured. So from the north, she will be captured. Can we say through Alaska? The arrows will be like skilled warriors who do not return empty-handed. So Babylon will be plundered. All who plunder her will have their fill, declares Yahuwah. Because you rejoice and are glad, you who pillage my inheritance, because you frolic like a heifer threshing grain and nigh like stallions. Your mother will be greatly ashamed. She who gave birth to you will be disgraced. She will be the least of the nations, a wilderness, a dry land, a desert. Because of the Lord's anger, she will not be inhabited, but will be completely desolate. All who pass by Babylon will be appalled. They will scoff because of all her wounds. Take up positions around Babylon, all you who draw the bow. So Babylon's going to be taken. Babylon is being taken right now. What do you mean, Yakoba? How is Babylon being taken right now? How is America being taken right now? Can we say chess players? What do you mean? Chess players. You got to look for the moves and the counter moves and the setups and the pins and the traps.
Congressman Pat Fallon joins me now. Congressman, as you may have just heard, the White House is considering federalizing the Texas National Guard, which could mean a direct clash at the border between federalized troops and the state authorities. Are we going to see a confrontation?
Well, Stuart, that'd be a huge mistake for the Biden administration if they do that. The last time any National Guard troops were federalized was during the Eisenhower administration and the Little Rock Nine. And if Joe Biden does this, he maybe, go down in history as the Mexican drug cartel 9 million, because there have been almost 9 million people that have crossed the border illegally over the last 3 years under his watch. So I think politically it's a disaster. I think from a policy standpoint, it would be a horrible move. But we'll see. But this administration has done both those things. They've made bad policy decisions, and they've made bad political ones.
Well, how do you see this playing out? There's got to be some kind of resolution at some stage here. What's the resolution?
Well, what would be wonderful is some Trump-era policies worked very well. Wait in Mexico. I was down on the border, Stu, a few weeks ago, and the Customs and Border Protection agents were telling us if Joe Biden just instituted the Wait in Mexico policy, that we would see a 70% reduction in the flow of illegals to our border. But he refuses to do that. He has the power, he has the tools at his disposal right now under executive authority to solve this, not even crisis anymore, really. It's a cataclysm. He chooses not to. It boggles my mind.
The Senate discussion, the Senate border discussion, looks likely to collapse because Trump says it's meaningless. That's the impact of Trump's surge on Congress. He's going to wreck, and I'm not saying this is bad or good, but he is going to make those talks collapse on the border.
Well, quite frankly, Stu, where we were before, there wasn't anything that was, there was no real teeth in that agreement. It was window dressing, quite frankly. We need, the teeth that we need in there. We need expedited removal. We need wait in Mexico. We need to build additional, if Joe Biden wants to call them barriers and not walls, I could care less. But we need barriers along the southern border. Those are the concrete things that will help mitigate this crisis dramatically.
So y'all know all about this that's happening with Texas. I told you all what I believe a long time ago. I think it's all scripted. And I believe that it's being used to overthrow this nation and to overthrow the world. For this is a global coup d'etat. Oh, yes. You ain't got to believe me. Y'all, some of y'all ain't never believed the 400-year prophecy, even though it's right in your face. The Bible says they see all these plagues and they still don't repent. Why? Because y'all a bunch of deceivers and liars and half-truthers and, y'all know who I'm talking about. I ain't talking about the ones who listen to this channel. It's over. It's my opinion. Y'all better hope I'm wrong. What you doing, Jacoby? You're scaring everybody. I don't mean to scare anybody because, I don't know if your faith that low. You got the Bible, same Bible I got. Read it. There's promises. There's promises of deliverance. Those who endure to the end, the same shall be saved. That's what I put my hope on. I put my hope on Yeshua. I told y'all, I ain't playing with you. I ain't playing with the divinity of Yeshua. I'm not playing with whether he's Joseph's son. No, he's the son of the living God. He's God in human flesh. He's the same as the Father. And if you disagree, that's your business, not mine. I'm not playing with you. I got to make it into the kingdom. I'm not going to have lived most of my life on this planet dealing with racism, dealing with sickness, dealing with disease, dealing with attacks and discrimination. I'm not going to have spent my time on here to not make it into the kingdom. No, I'm not playing games with you. You want to deny the deity of the Messiah? That's your business. I believe he's God. You want to deny the virgin birth? That's your business. I believe in the virgin birth. I'm not playing with you. And you ain't got no time left, in my opinion. Governor Abbott issued statement on Texas constitutional right to self-defense. Governor Greg Abbott today issued a statement on Texas constitutional right to defend and protect itself as President Biden continues to attack Texas and refuse to perform his duties to secure the border. The executive branch of the United States has a constitutional duty to enforce federal laws protecting states, including immigration laws on the books right now, reads the statement. President Biden has instructed his agencies to ignore federal statutes that mandate the detention of illegal immigrants. The failure of the Biden administration to fulfill the duties imposed by Article 4 has triggered Article 110, Clause 3, which reserves to the state the right of self-defense. For these reasons, I've already declared an invasion under Article 1 and 10, Clause 3, to invoke Texas constitutional authority to defend and protect itself. That authority is the supreme law of the land and supersedes any federal statutes to the contrary. Can I sum this up for you, please? You want to know what he just said? Come on now. You want to know what he just said? He just said we are at war with the federal government. That's what he just said. Sum it up. He said to fulfill states' right to self-defense because they're being invaded and because the federal government is allowing them to be invaded. That's what he said. What does that mean? Can we say civil? And then can we say war? That's not going to happen, Yacoba. But the prophecy said it will. What prophecies? I've never read that in the Bible, Jacob. Second Ezra 15. Start at verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Who? The world. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Can we say civil war, boys and girls? Repeat after me. Civil war. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Can we say GUNS? Can we say pew pews? For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their powers. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and the great tribulation. Behold, says Yahuwah, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me. Can we say world war? Which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, from Libanus, to turn themselves one against another, to repay the things that they have done to them, like as they do yet this day to my children. So if the people in the Middle East is the people of the book, then who's these people then that's being persecuted? Because the people in the Middle East ain't being persecuted. So will I do also, and recompense in their bosom, thus says Yahuwah. So there's people here who are fighting one against another with weapons. For there shall be sedition. There shall be sedition. What is sedition? Sedition is a serious legal and political term that refers to actions and speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. It typically involves encouraging, supporting, or participating in activities aimed at undermining or overthrowing the established order, especially through violence or illegal means. In legal context, sedition often encompasses a broad range of activities, including speech, writing, or organization that is deemed to pose a threat to the government's stability or authority. It differs from treason in that treason usually requires a betrayal of the nation, such as assisting foreign powers or waging war against one's country, whereas sedition can be more about domestic actions. Can we say like border security? More about domestic actions against the government's authority or laws. Can we say Texas against the federal government? Different countries have varying laws and definitions concerning seditions, and the application of these laws can be a subject of significant debate, especially in terms of how they intersect with rights like free speech, free assembly, protecting your own borders. In democratic societies, there's often a delicate balance between protecting the state and respecting individual rights to dissent and criticize the government. 2 Ezra 15:16, we just read. For there shall be sedition among men. Hashtag ain't no 400-year prophecy. U.S. on the brink of civil war. 25 states have activated the Constitution and deployed the National Guard, preparing for battles with Biden forces. For 24 hours now, the United States of America has been standing on the precipice of a second civil war, as 25 of the 50 states have publicly sided with Texas against the ruthless and illegal handling of illegal immigration by the federal government, as they typically state. Now, isn't all of the movies that we've seen over the years is about Texas leading the revolution? I'm just saying. The 25 states supporting Texas began sending air and ground reinforcements to protect the Texas border and prevent possible federal intervention. Texas Governor Greg Abbott invoked Article 1 and Article 10, Clause 3 to invoke Texas constitutional authority to defend and protect his state. The clause states that state law supersedes any federal law to the contrary. The Texas governor further adds that states should not be left at the mercy of a lawless president who does nothing to stop an external threat like the cartels that smuggle millions of immigrants. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt has publicly stated that he will send the Oklahoma National Guard to the Texas-Mexico border to support Governor Greg Abbott, while the governor of North Dakota stressed that Texas will have what it takes. A while ago, the Texas National Guard made the first arrest of illegal immigrants in defiance of Biden. Local officials said Biden administration committed absolute treason by failing to control the flow of migrants and neglecting border security. Texas security forces have taken control of the border with Mexico and are not allowing illegal immigrants to enter the state despite Biden's official order and the Supreme Court ruling. Federal authorities are demanding that the Texas National Guard remove barbed wires erected along the border. But the state's governor has refused to do so, saying the government is condoning an immigrant invasion. The Biden administration has given Texas 24 hours to comply with the U.S. Supreme Court ruling and transfer border patrol positions to the federal government, or nothing good will come of it. What did we say? What do you predict for 2024? Pain. Andale. Don't worry about it. Ain't nothing to see here as they gaslight the world. It's pretty bad. Now, think of this as a military person. Your enemy who's trying to invade you just so happens to be having internal strife. What do you do now? Do you take advantage of the situation? Well, you've been having thousands and thousands of Chinese come across the borders, Russians coming across the borders, all before this happened. I'm just saying, maybe I'm seeing something that ain't there. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Remember the video I showed you where the sheriffs told everybody, you better get your guns. You better get your pew-pews. You better protect yourself. You better carry. Why? Because they knew it was coming. But don't listen to Tail Ministries. They're producing fear. There's nothing to fear. Ain't nobody ever told you to fear. We told you to be informed, be prepared, and prayed up. Your family in trouble, my family in trouble, everybody family in trouble. Your water about to go off, your lights about to go off, your access to food is about to go off, but Yah will provide. Assuming I'm right. Maybe you just should pray that I'm wrong. But it sure look like something's about to happen to me. What about you? Does it look like something about to happen to you? If you think something look like it's about to kick off, give me a 1. If you think we got another 2, 10, 20, 30 years, give me a 2. They attacked us over the last 3 years. They spray our skies. They put stuff in our food and water. They want us to eat Z-bugs, but don't worry. You ain't got nothing to worry about. They make you eat a lollipop, but you ain't got to worry. When you kicked off the whole thing, they say, guess what? You don't eat a lollipop, you don't have a job. You don't eat a lollipop, you don't get to go to work. Now, guess what? I should have put the video here, but China, a Chinese woman went visit her parents in China, and she wanted to go use her little card to go buy something. Well, she's not in the database. You can only buy something digitally in China. You got to be part of the social credit tracking system. You have to be pre-approved. Your face has to be verified. Guess what? They couldn't verify her face. So guess what? She couldn't buy anything to eat. She couldn't buy anything with her card. It was a gift card. Welcome to the New World Order, family. See, this is why Israel got to come together. This is why Israel got to be truthful. This is why Israel has to be honest. This is why you have to overcome the lies, because guess what? We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how this is going to play out. And if we make it out, praise Yah. But what if we don't? What if? Well, Jacob, if was a fifth, we all be drunk. I'm telling you, I don't know what you see. I could tell you what I see. I think I have a pretty good track record personally. We got to learn that we all we got. We all we got, y'all. Ain't nobody love us but the Most High. You know it. Give me a 1 if you think the world love us. I mean, give me a 1 if you think nobody loves us. Give me a 2 if you think everybody loves us. I'm just saying. Give me a 1 if you think everybody. Give me a 1 if you think nobody loves us. Give me a 2 if you think the world loves us. Ain't nobody love us but us. We got to look out for each other. We got to prepare for this thing. We got to plan our way out. Because here's the thing. We got the prophecies, but we don't have the details. We got the prophecies, but we don't know if we're going on ships or we're running across the border. We got the prophecies. We don't know if they're going to try to take us out while we try to leave. We just don't know. We got Revelation chapter 12 say the dragon going to chase us. Look, I see the Gentiles building bunkers, storing away food, and they telling their people, they're saying, look, y'all need to build bunkers. Y'all need some food. Y'all need to store some water. Y'all need some gold. But guess what? How many Negroes could do that? How many black folks could do that? How many black folks could build some bunkers and get some gold and have some food stored up and water? Shoot, they're trying to pay their light bill. They're trying to feed their kids. Some people got to go get their medicine. We ain't in the same situation. They could do it. We can't. A lot of us. We all we got. Us and the Most High. We gonna learn to rely on the Most High and love each other. I'm telling you right now. We gonna learn to rely on the Most High and love one another. That's where we at. If I sound like I'm concerned, I am concerned. Very bad development. British Army chief tells people to prepare for general conscription for king and nation. There's great concern in Britain from the lightning bolt unleashed by the chief of the British Army, Sir Patrick Sanders, who asked the people to prepare for general conscription in a war against Russia. Sir Patrick Sanders spoke of a citizen army while introducing the term pre-war generation, stressing that preparatory steps must be taken to enable our societies to be put on a war footing. Well, look, if you ain't got enough, yeah, and Rick Ross, he got that money building his bunker. Good luck. They know where he at. They're gonna dig him out that ground. But anyway, stressing that preparatory steps must be taken to enable our societies to be put on a war footing. His speech has caused a huge shock in the UK. Almost all the British media are dealing with these statements. But ain't nothing to worry about. Ain't no 400-year prophecy. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Can we say draft? Conscription is a nice fancy word. Can we say draft? Why? Because they plan on going to war against the Ruskies. But ain't nothing to worry about. While we have internal strife, while we have a potential civil war scenario happening, we don't know if it's going to play out fully that way. But I mean, what do you call it right now? a huge disagreement. The people to prepare for general conscription. Shortly before Sir Patrick Sanders' speech, the Daily Telegraph reported that the chief of the British Army will make his appeal to ordinary Britons at the International Armored Vehicle Conference in Twickenham today. The head of Britain's armed forces then called on British authorities on Wednesday to mobilize the nation to prepare for war with Russia. Ain't no joys here. Jacoba don't know what he talking about. I know he been talking about this in 2016. I know he said Russia and Ukraine would fight. I know he talked about all the Middle East stuff in Albania and all that in Iran. I know, but guess what? He don't know what he talking about. These aren't the droids you're looking for. I know that they say that, they want to go ahead and fight with Russia, but that ain't going to happen. While not advocating general conscription, Sanders stressed the need for a switch flip in the minds of the British public to be psychologically ready for a military conflict with Russia. The chief of the British Army emphasized that the British could be called to fight for king and country in the event of a war with Russia. An alarming finding sounded the alarm in NATO. Norwegian Geta. We are running out of time. German Ministry of Defense. We are going to war with Russia. Don't worry about that. We're not going to war. That's what they're going to tell you. Don't worry about it. I know the British said it. I know that Norwegians said it. I know that we ain't going. Look, don't listen to Tail Ministries. They're exaggerating. Norwegians need to prepare as well as the Swedish people. After Germany, Sweden, the Baltic countries, and the head of NATO Military Commission, Admiral Rob Boyer, it was the turn of Norway and again the German Minister of Defense to ask the Western nation to prepare for an imminent conflict with Russia. But hey, who am I? I don't know nothing. An imminent conflict with Russia. That's what they're saying. I didn't say it. Even though I told you the prophecies teach this. I told you 2024. I told you I see the signs. I told you they getting them contractions getting closer and closer. But your mores told you don't worry about it because America ain't Babylon. Don't worry. That's what your mores say. They say the Vatican is Babylon. Don't worry. Go back to sleep.
French farmers dumped soil and rubbish in front of a local government building in Brittany. Part of nationwide protests on Thursday, now in their second week, demanding the government protect them from cheap imports, rising costs, and red tape, posing the first great challenge for new Prime Minister Gabriel Attal. Jean-Jacques Pescarel is a local union leader in Rennes, Brittany.
Because we always have more rules to follow. We are always asked for more, and we earn less and less. We are not living from our work anymore. Today, we want the authorities to understand that agriculture is important, that food sovereignty is in danger, that we cannot ask farmers to produce quality. I would even say super quality food, but import products that do not match French standards at all. It's no longer bearable. It's not.
So the farmers in France protesting against, these laws of importing food that's not of the same quality as theirs, right? Sounds familiar. See, the problem is, if you watch some of the other videos, these farmers were like tearing up the roads to stop these trucks from coming in from other places with cheaper foods, which are of a lower quality. And they were spraying, feces over the buildings and everything. But a lot of people don't understand that things are about to change. See, that's what I'm looking at. And they've been attacking us, and some of y'all don't even see it. What do you think all these health issues are? What do you think all these people disappearing? What do you think all the stuffy noses and the phlegm and the high blood pressure and the everything? What do you think that is? Warfare. See, you have to understand the urgency now. What does that mean? That means pray. Pray like you've never prayed before. What is that? What else that mean? Prepare. What else that mean? Cry out to your God, to your Elohim. Because some of y'all, you got to wake up with shock and awe. Because some of y'all ain't going to believe it, though they marching down the streets, though they kicking in your doors and taking your food and kicking you out your house and putting migrants in there. Some of y'all ain't going to believe it. We are at war and we don't even realize it. We're being attacked and we don't even realize it. Family and friends are no longer here because of these people. These people have taken over the world. They're taking over the means of production. These farmers in France understand this. They're trying to fight for their livelihood, not just the money, but good quality food. Genesis 6:11-13. The earth also was corrupt before Yah, and the earth was filled with violence. And Yah looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And Yahuwah said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Is the earth filled with violence right now, family? Yes or no? Is it filled with violence? Yes or no? Does not the Bible say, as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be? The world is filled with violence. Not only is it filled with violence, according to Jasher, they taught for the mixing of one species with another. They're doing that, manipulating DNA. I don't like what's happening. I know it denotes our deliverance, but there's a lot of people no longer here. I hate that. I hate the fact that people are no longer here. They don't understand why they're not. Well, they know now since they're with the Most High. Hopefully they're with the Most High. Hopefully they were believers. But they were casualties of war. All the people that would attack us over the years, guess what? They're gonna still gaslight you. They don't have the fortitude to say, you know what? Maybe we were wrong. Maybe Yakobo was right. Maybe that 400-year prophecy is true. They're still gonna deny it. See, that's how those who are perishing are. Because the wicked will not understand, but the wise will understand. We all are about to meet our Creator. Hopefully, He's not only your Creator, but your Savior. Satan has taken over the world, and there's a battle going on in the spirit realm. There's violence on the earth, just like during the times of Noah. And you can't trust nobody. I told you that. You better trust the Most High.
Has praised Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum in their pursuit of global governance. Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano was quick to condemn this new statement from Pope Francis. Go for the full news story to lifesitenews.com, but here are the highlights. Pope Francis has sent a message of praise to the World Economic Forum and its founder, Klaus Schwab, writing that the group's annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland is a quote, important opportunity, end quote, in the wider attempt to, and I quote, explore innovative and effective ways to build a better world, end quote. Additionally, the Pope made mention of a fundamentally moral aspect of the current process of globalization, he said, which is currently underway and which aims to, quote, shape the future of the international community. While he did not promote the faith or religion as an answer to society's current crises, Pope Francis called on nations and businesses to promote, quote, far-sighted and ethically sound models of globalization, end quote. This would work out power at the service of the common good of our human family, he said, giving priority to the poor, the needy, and those in the most vulnerable situations.
So the Pope is for globalization. He's along with the WEF. He's promoting this whole takeover. I'm surprised that this particular bishop, Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano, has come out against the Pope. I'm surprised. But 3 months ago, Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano spoke about what's happening, about the global coup d'etat. I'm not the only one that sees it now. A lot of people see it. They just don't understand why it's happening. We keep telling them, but hey, ain't nobody gonna listen to the Negroes. Y'all just black folks. That's what they're gonna say. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about.
Dear friends, for 2 years now, we have been witnessing a global coup d'etat in which a financial and ideological elite has succeeded in seizing control of part of the national government, public and private institutions, the media, the judiciary, politicians, and religious leaders. All of these, without distinction, have become enslaved to these new masters who ensure power, money, and social affirmation to their accomplices. Fundamental rights, which up until yesterday were presented as inviolable, have been trampled underfoot in the name of an emergency. Today, a health emergency, tomorrow, an ecological emergency, and after that, an internet emergency. This global coup d'etat deprives citizens of any possibility of defense, since the legislative, executive, and judicial powers are complicit in the violation of law, justice, and the purpose for which they exist. It is a global coup d'etat because this criminal attack against citizens extends to the whole world, with every very rare exception. It is a world war where the enemies are all of us, even those who unwittingly have not yet understood the significance of what is happening. It is a war fought not with weapons, but with illegitimate rules, wicked economic policies, and intolerable limitation of natural rights. Supranational organizations, financed in large measure by the conspirator of this coup d'etat, are interfering in the government of individual nations and in the lives, relationships, and health of billions of people. They are doing it for money, certainly, but even more. So in order to centralize power so as to establish a planetary dictatorship. It is the great reset of the World Economic Forum, the Agenda 2030 of the United Nations. It is the plan of the new world order in which a universal republic enslaves everyone and a religious of humanity cancels faith in Christ. In the face of this global coup d'etat, it is necessary to form an international anti-globalist alliance which gathers all those who want to oppose the dictatorship, who have no intention of becoming slaves to a faceless power, who are not willing to cancel their own identity, their own individuality, their own religious faith. If the attack is global, the defense must also be global. I call upon rulers, politicians and religious leaders, intellectuals and all people of goodwill, inviting them to unite in an alliance that launches an anti-globalist manifesto, refuting point by point the errors and deviation of this dystopia of the new world order.
So let me tell you the complex scenario here. According to him, he's against the New World Order globalist attack on the individual rights of the world population. He's against the global coup d'etat. However, notice what he said. See, this is where you got to have spiritual discernment. You got to know what's happening. He wants a global alliance to counter the New World Order, evil global alliance. He wants the republic to fight the empire. In the end, you end up with a Ewok scenario. The new alliance that he's talking about will overthrow the evil alliance. But yet in the end, you will still have an international alliance of quote unquote good people. But yet they will end up controlling this new international order of good people and good nations and good leaders and good intellectuals. This is what we call the Hegelian dialectic. They know people will always resist the empire. People will always resist and fight the devil. People gonna always fight for freedom. So therefore, in order for them to gain control, I told you it's all scripted. In order to gain control, they have to overthrow the Luciferic world order, but they're all Luciferians. See, when it's all over and World War III is done and Babylon falls and they come back and the 10 nations come together and they have the Ewok moment, everybody going to be jubilant and happy. And now you're going to have an international order and world of peace with the 3 monotheistic religions at the helm of the religious system, with a new world order of a multipolar world order of those who were against, let's say, the colonialist world order, which is the new world order, the current new world order, the American world order. They're going to be the ones to save mankind. They're going to be the riders on the white horse. And most people going to fall for the dialectic, and they're going to be happy, and they're going to have their food and their water and their high technology, and they're going to say, man, we just got past a rough one. The devil almost took over the world, but we stopped him. The Allied nations came together and stopped the Germans. And just as America came to power, so comes this new power, which is a new global system, but it's the same system. It's the same people. And you still ain't going to see black folks in charge. You're going to have some sellouts. But they're playing all their cards. And the discerning can see it, and the undiscerning can't. There will be chaos here. Yes, the system is about to fall. And some of us going to struggle. And some of us going to have to oppose these people when they go buck wild, trying to reestablish their nation. And all of the people gonna blame Negroes. They're already blaming you for wokeism. They're already blaming you for critical race theory, all of which we never started. We didn't care if you were really teaching about history, about our history, because guess what? Y'all never taught our true history anyway. And wokeism, what is that? Y'all always tie that with the alphabets. We don't care about none of that. But guess what? That's what they paint us with. Black folks are the ones behind wokeism. Black folks the one behind critical race theory. They're going to look for Israel's guilt, but they're not going to find it. I hate to tell you this. The prophecies are playing out exactly as written. I can't help it if some of y'all can't see it. That's why I say it's dangerous. It is very dangerous. And it's not so much from the guns and the bullets and the biologicals. And those are dangerous. It's the deception. It's the deception in Israel. It's the deception of those who deny the deity of Christ. It's the deception of those who deny that Yeshua is God in human flesh. It's the deception of those who teach that Yeshua is Michael the Archangel. It's the deceptions that's going to slowly, step by step, lead you from the narrow path to the wide path. If what I believe is correct, these channels are about to go down. If what I believe is correct, this could be my last video. Everything seems to be on fast forward and look like they're going to meet their target agenda of 2025 of the Deagle report. And you remember the Deagle report says that, America going to lose about 200 million. They're right on schedule. They're sticking to their program. The thing is this. You better make sure you have a personal relationship with the Most High. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about your mores. Don't worry about your teachers. Don't worry about those who reject the deity of Christ. Don't worry about those who, talk about the genealogy don't match up. I already did an article on that if you want to go read it at tailministries.com. Don't worry about them folks. You worry about your relationship with the Most High. These are the times the Bible spoke of. If I'm wrong, then you lucky. But my prediction, as I stated for 2024, is pain. If you can't see the prophecies, I feel sorry for you. If you're still waiting for the rapture, I feel sorry for you. If you think you're going to get out of here without suffering, I feel sorry for you. Did you not count the cost? We must through much tribulation into the kingdom. I don't like it either. But if the Father says we got to go through much tribulation, then let his will be done. Because guess what? He knows what needs to happen. He knows what needs to be done to save us. He knows what needs to be done that we might be delivered from the hands of our enemies. He ain't never said what the song say. He ain't never said it was going to be easy. You better make sure you out of religion and in relationship. And I'm not just talking about the Christian church. I'm talking about Israelite camps. I'm talking about Israelite ministries. I'm talking about all that. It ain't about that. See, some of y'all just got to be in packs. And some of y'all hook up with the wrong people. And y'all in the wrong pack or tribe or group. Some of y'all going to fight us till the end. And you're going to find that you ain't make it in. I ain't say I got all the answers. But guess what? I'm sincere. My heart is right. My motives is to serve the living God. My motives is to make sure we all get in there. Now, I know I ain't got no power, but I can be faithful. I can be found faithful. This ain't the time to be playing church. This ain't the time to be making ministries so that people can follow you and not Christ. This ain't the time to be putting yourself before the family. We're supposed to be thinking about each other. We're supposed to be looking out for one another. Ain't nobody else cares but us. Ain't nobody care for us but us. Ain't nobody care for us but the Most High. Y'all know it's true. That's why don't get mad at me when I say Israel should stick with Israel. Don't be marrying them folk. If you married to them, that's your business. It ain't mine. I know we just woke up like last night. We just found out we Israel. We ain't know nothing. We didn't make mistakes, and if we knew, we would have done right. I know I got all that. But we can continue from here forward and obey what the Most High has told us to do. Make sure your motives are correct. Make sure your heart is right. Make sure you loving people and wishing the best for people. As the Bible says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Make sure that your heart is to make sure your people make it just like you want to make it. Your people want to get in to the kingdom just like you want to get into the kingdom. You know, when the Most High told Moses, said, look, I could kill them all. And start with you, Moses. Moses said, Lord, don't do that. Because then the nation's going to say, you know, you couldn't even take care of your own people. Moses interceded for his family, though you know our people got some funny ways. That's how we supposed to be. If we're going to make it in, that's the kind of love we got to have. If we're going to make it in, we got to treat each other right. We can't take advantage of people. We can't steal from each other. We can't be lying to each other. We can't be manipulating each other. You got to stand before the Most High God himself. Are you not scared? If you ain't living right, you ought to be scared. We ain't got no time left. And you ain't got to believe me. That's fine. It's all good. You can't say I didn't try. You can't say I didn't run a race. You can't say I didn't do what the Most High called me to do. But my heart hurts for a lot of y'all. And my heart hurts for our families. And my heart hurts for those who are deceived in this nation and those who are alphabets, who are manipulated by the system. They put stuff in their water. They abused them and used them. They taught them stuff in school when they were kids. They ain't had no understanding and led them astray. Their parents ain't know no better because they were deceived, because they went to these churches that told you God forgives everybody. All I got to do is repent. Nothing about being obedient. The mark of the beast is right at the door. The world government is right at the door. But guess what? They still don't like them no Negroes. They still got one thing in common. They don't love no Negroes. I told you, they don't love us. I ain't hating on nobody. I'm just being honest. This is the time for us to come together. And those who in this ministry, who listen to this ministry, y'all need to come together. Y'all need to look out for each other. We all need to look out for each other. We need to love one another. We need to help one another. We need to pray for one another. That's where we at. I don't want to hear no backbiting. I don't care about no fighting. I don't care about no debating. I don't care about none of the foolishness. The problem is we don't love one another. We be using people and using one another and not taking care and looking out for us. And some of us get too caught up in things that we want and not what the Most High want. Things ain't the same, and it ain't going to be the same no more. We told y'all, we ain't going back. America's done. Babylon is done. And I don't know what else to tell you. I ain't going to lie. If you can't see it at this point, I feel sorry for you. I feel it in my spirit. This might be the last broadcast, or one of the last broadcasts. I mean, I don't know. Something's about to happen major. It's moving real, real fast. Maybe they could put a pause on it. Maybe they could pause it. You better hope they pause it. But it sure look like it's moving fast to me. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending. Love you with the love of Messiah. If you want to support this ministry, you can by becoming a patron. You can also give Cash App, $TOTW 7101. Also, you could give us a like and share this video. Tell your family about it. Tell them to watch it. Let them know what's happening. And stop being scared of your family. Stop being scared because they don't want to hear about end time. Stop being scared because they don't want to hear about being Israel and about the prophecies happening. Guess what? Tell them anyway. Tell them anyway. I don't care if you don't want to hear it. Tell them anyway. Because they ain't going to have no excuse. And pray for this ministry. Because we go through a lot. Love y'all. And please support the Dry Bones Project.